This is a show where I try to educate real stories.
Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. I want to remind everyone that I started this show because as a criminal defense attorney, many parents would call me after their children got 18 years pleading guilty to a pre-sentence investigation, or they got 40 years on their first offense going to trial, or they got 60 years on their first offense going to trial. They didn't call me when they caught the case, but they called me after they went to prison. And so many people would call me and ask me to help them. They wanted to know what's going on, why did this happen, why did the judge give my child so much time? And really, it's not much you can do after someone's been convicted. There is nothing you can do other than appeal it. But what people don't understand is an appeal is basically, I'm just going to tell you this kind of everyday language. It is the Court of Appeals looking at the judge to see, judging the judge to see if the judge let in evidence they should not have let in, or didn't let in something they should have let in. So that's what it is. But regular people don't know that that's what an appeal is. They think that an appeal is the Court of Appeals is looking to see whether the person was guilty or not guilty. That's not what they do. They're seeing if the judge gave the person a fair trial when lawyers were objecting and saying, Judge, I object, that evidence should not come in, and maybe the judge let it in anyway. So they're looking to see, should they not let that evidence in? And most people don't know that. And as a lawyer, I would always try to explain even to my clients what the law was, but people don't want to hear the truth. People want to hear fairy tales. They want to hear what friends are saying in jail. They want to say what the street guys are saying. They don't want to listen to reality. So that's what made me start this show. I'm telling you, I know this sounds crazy, but half the calls that I get all day at my office are, why did my child get so much time? I'm not their lawyer. Why are you not talking to their lawyer? Why are you talking to me? You didn't call me when they were in trouble. You thought somebody else's ice was colder than my ice. But now you want me to talk about it. I can't second guess the strategy of another lawyer. How would I know? So that was the impetus for me starting Truth and Justice in 2011. I don't make any money off of this. Actually, I pay somebody to help me do this show, to be our cameraman. This is my community service. And I've asked people to come on to tell their stories so that people can learn from real life experiences. And my guests can always ask me about their own cases or what I think. But remember, that's just my thought. That's one person's opinion. That's why they call it a practice of law. Everybody's going to look at things differently. Everybody's going to approach it differently. You know, people like to call lawyers and say, well, they'll call me and say, well, this other lawyer said they would do this for my case. You know, I don't want to get involved with that because I got to read the police report. I got to look at the witness statements. I have to look at, and that's what you're paying a lawyer for. People don't forget, you're paying a lawyer for advice. You're not paying them for results. You're paying them for advice to get the best result. If you didn't do it, we're going to try to work like hell to find the witnesses or the evidence to prove that you didn't do it. If you did do it, but you don't think it happened the way the government is saying it, we're going to try to make the punishment fit the crime. But you pay a lawyer for advice, and with good advice, you should get fair results. And to make sure you're not getting railroaded or cheated on, because that can help it. And so the best thing to do, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And if you're going to do the crime, let's try to get a fair sentence. You don't want to do 60 years if somebody else for the same crime is doing 20. right? And that's also part of a lawyer's job, is to make sure they see what's going on in the courtroom, in the courthouse, and what are other people getting. Are some lawyers getting favoritism with the prosecutors? You know, if so, I'm gonna call it out. You know, whenever I have a client in jail and they tell me, well, so-and-so got an aggravated robbery like I do, and they only got this much time. You know what I ask my clients? Give me that person's SPIN number, because I'm gonna go look it up and see if that person is telling you the truth. And 9 times out of 10, it's not true. But if it is, I'm gonna look at who the defense attorney is, who the prosecutor is, and I'm gonna go talk to them about it. Not the defense attorney, because they're doing a good job. But I'm gonna talk to the prosecutor to make sure that they're being fair. And if you gotta go all the way up to the top, that's what you have to do. So, that's my intro for this day. And I think I can go on to my guests now, because everybody's seated and everybody's ready. So, ladies first. So if I can, I wanna introduce Koretta Brown, who I heard about way before I met. And Koretta, thank you for agreeing to be here. And then I also have in the studio Michael Spates, who's also one of my church members and formerly incarcerated, and hopefully they'll tell their stories. So Michael, since you've been sitting here the longest, why don't we start with you? So Michael, tell us who you are and how you got involved with the criminal justice system.
Well, Ms. King, my name is Michael Spates, as you know. And somebody said I've always been a criminal.
Well, what was it in middle school? I mean, when do you think you started doing wrong? Now, you might have had wrong thoughts, but when did you start acting on it?
I had bad behavior from a child,
Really?
going in stores, stealing, picking up stuff in the stores. Yeah.
Did you have parents?
I was raised by my aunt and uncle in Sugar Land.
Okay.
And so I had a 2-parent household, middle class. My uncle was a hardworking man who had businesses. He had a barber shop. Later on, we had liquor stores. He owned rental houses. So I can't sit here and say I come from a poor or bad background, because I was afforded the opportunity to grow up in a household that was, you know, my mom had me at a very young age.
Okay.
And her sister's husband, my uncle, told she was going to put me up for adoption. He told his wife that they should give me and raise me so I would grow up with the family. They took me in at 4 days old. I grew up calling them mother and father.
So they adopted you?
They never officially adopted me, but you know, a lot of black families. I grew up, I'm 64 years old, and so in the 60s, a lot of black families would take in kids and things like that. So they did what was natural. He had taken in other family members at a young age.
Did they have other children in the house?
Yeah, he had a son and 2 daughters. Well, they had a son and 2 daughters. And they also, like I said, they had taken, my mom's mom had died while she was very young, and so, but she had my uncle that was a baby. They took him in and raised him as well.
Okay, so y'all have a good family, good loving family that takes in the kids.
Yeah.
So were you mad about stealing, or you just being bad? I mean, were you angry about something, or just why were you stealing?
Well, later on, we talked about, and I never felt wanted, because I knew that even though I was in the family dynamics that I was in, as a child, I never really felt wanted. You know, I felt that my dad, my real father didn't want me. My real mother gave me up for adoption. She didn't want me, and you know, I just never. I don't know why.
But what about the aunt and uncle? Did they give you love and attention?
Yeah, but
so they wanted you. They didn't have to take you.
Yeah, they want affectionate people.
Okay. You needed some affection.
Yeah, I guess so.
So just tell me, if you go back to your little young mind, why are you stealing? I'm just trying to figure out what. I mean, were you pranking with your other friends? Were you showing out? I mean, what were you doing?
Sometimes. Yeah. Me and my homeboys. We walked up to the neighborhood store, and after church, we made a kind of joke, because we said, boy, if we go to jail, we're gonna be sitting in jail with all the murderers and hard criminals and things. They're gonna ask what we in here for, and we're gonna say stealing honey buns, because we.
All right, so when did you graduate up to more serious crimes?
When I graduated up to more serious, I never spent a day in jail till I was 30 years old.
Oh my God.
And I caught my first case in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I got caught with like a quarter kilo of cocaine, rock cocaine.
Was it a setup? Someone told it on you, or you just in a car?
We just in the car, and Texas license plates. We learned, and they did a documentary on that there were two things that the Louisiana police look for. Texas license plates headed east, and Florida license plates headed west. And you had two young black kids in a nice car with Texas plates, and they pulled us over. And
Searched your car.
They searched the car. I don't know if the search was legal. You did all that about the constitutionality earlier. I didn't really have money.
Well, on all black kids, they say you smell like marijuana.
Yeah.
And you know, the smell of marijuana is hard to fight.
Yeah.
Because generally, you don't find any marijuana, like no butts or anything. But as we all know, marijuana smell in your clothes. And so it's basically the cop's word against yours.
Yeah.
And that's always a probable cause. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why when I went back to the DA's office, I went there to write the pretrial intervention program to divert everybody from marijuana. Remember, everybody thought the law had changed. It hadn't changed. It's illegal to have marijuana.
Right, still.
But you can still divert people, and we got the police officers to do it from the street, so that you never went to jail, so you wouldn't have that jacket on you, and hoping that psychologically cops will say, why am I doing this if I can't even take them to jail? If we've agreed not to go to jail, maybe they'll stop illegally searching your car. That was my big picture. That's one of the reasons why I went back to the DA's office under Kim Ogg, because she allowed me to do that. Because prior to that, from 2006 to 2016, 10,000, mostly minority kids, were arrested for marijuana a year. So in 10 years, that's 100,000 people. And we got that almost down to nothing by the officers. And I wrote it, give them a little piece of paper and tell them to take this class online. They'd still put you in the back of their patrol car, but they let you sign up. They took a copy, you kept a copy, and then you had to take a class in 90 days. I think that Chantier still has that program going, but we started that program in March of 2017. But that was just for that kind of case. I'm just diverting a little bit to tell you, because a lot of people get on me, it's like, I wouldn't have gone back to the DA's office. But you don't understand, I had a big picture idea of the little things, because what frustrated me as a human being and as a lawyer is, I would say 70 to 80% of the people in the 90s, 2000, 2010s who were in prison for drugs, cocaine, whatever it was, came from the stop of a car. Because the police are gonna always say, it smells like marijuana. Some people, they gotta let go because they don't really find anything, but they know that that's the way to get in your car, and you're gonna be transported, and most Black and Hispanic people drive dirty. And so I'm telling you, you just said it. I mean, you're part of the 70 to 80%. I mean, I would really say 80%. It's very few where officers are actually doing surveillance on a drug house, sending a CI in with marked money, going in, doing a raid, getting a search warrant, getting a raid, and going in the house. It's always in a damn vehicle. So what is that supposed to tell you? Stop putting that stuff in a vehicle. Figure out another way. I'm not going to go into that on TV, but I'm not saying you're supposed to do it either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not for cocaine or drugs, although I did probably do marijuana when I was young. But, you know, I'm not for serious drugs, but I'm just saying that's the way law enforcement gets you. And see, Harris County is a big county. We have 86 police agencies in Harris County. So when you see one thing on the news, and let me say another statistics. When I left the DA's office in December of 2024, there were 200,000 cases pending. I just talked to one of my former almost clients, and he was like, you should have left when that Armstrong case happened. I'd have quit that job. You don't know why I went there. You don't know how many people I helped. You don't know that when it's 200,000 cases pending, I was over the money anyway. I was the CFO. But if somebody called me about something unfair, I would look into it. I would talk to the first assistant over the case. I was the first assistant over the operations of the place. And I talked to Kim, and we try to do something about it. But you can't do something about every case.
Right.
Because sometimes you, the preacher of this church, you call me about your parishioner who's been to prison, but he's in trouble again. Then you call me from your church because your person is the victim.
Right.
They got pistol whipped. So both sides are calling me saying, do something about it. This one, when's the guy gonna go to prison? You calling me saying, he's a good guy, he had changed his life. I'm like, what do I have to do? I have to tell both of those preachers, y'all gonna have to work this out in court. I can't get involved with that. Now, if you call me and tell me that something is racially doing and somebody's getting something bad's happening to them, then I'm gonna get involved in that. But you know, there's always a victim and they have their people. Mm-hmm. And then there's also always a defendant that they have their people. It might be the wrong guy, I don't know. But I'm just telling you, people say, well, I would quit, but it's 200,000 cases, so you don't know, I might have helped, 1,000 people. You know what I'm saying? So that's 1,000 people that wouldn't have had my help. So some people have small vision, because it's hard to imagine how large Harris County is. It's larger than 25 states.
Yeah.
Montana, the state of Montana only has 1 million people. We have 4.8 million people in Harris County and 2.5 million in the city, then the county. So it's double the amount of people.
Yeah.
So it's huge.
Wow, that is.
That's huge. So I'm just throwing that at you. So anyway, let's go. So we in Lake Charles, Louisiana, getting arrested for 1/4 kilo.
Yeah.
In a car.
In the car.
With a partner.
With a partner. Yeah.
Is it a state crime or is it feds?
This state. They kept it state, local, and I got probation out of that. So.
And where were you got probation? Where in what?
In Calcasieu Parish. And
Louisiana?
Louisiana.
So even though you didn't live there, they gave you probation?
Yeah.
Did they transfer
it was
the
my
probation?
first offense. I said.
Or did they transfer it to Texas?
They transferred it to Texas, and so.
Did you make it?
No, I didn't, because I caught a case back here in Fort Bend County, and that was a setup, and like a dummy, a young lady asked me about buying her and a friend some drugs, and I didn't know the friend, and I should have followed my first mind, but being a male.
She was cute?
They were cute. Being a male.
They knew that would get you.
Yeah, and so I went got the drugs. And so the neighborhood I grew up in is behind Imperial Sugar Plant, and there's a school right there smack dab in the middle of that. And they have that school zone law where you can't have guns, drugs, or any of that. Me not knowing the law, not having representation, got a family friend who was a lawyer, because I couldn't afford a lawyer again. He told me this was a good deal, and to take the plea bargain.
Which was?
5 years.
TDC. How much dope was it?
It was maybe a couple of grams or so of crack cocaine. But it don't matter, because that school zone, the school zone is enhanced. It's considered like a 3G felony. They probably won't understand this. I didn't know this until I went to jail, which 3G means like aggravated. It's like an aggravated sentence. And even though it's not aggravated, it's treated like aggravated. So that meant I had to do 5 years. I had to do that whole sentence before I could be eligible for parole. Well, I only had a 5-year sentence. So,
on aggravated cases, you have to do half.
Well,
they treated you bad, huh?
Well,
what, was this in the 90s? Maybe it was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s, and let me tell you this, it could possibly be, so in either 90.
I caught the case in 96.
Well, they had opened those state jails. So once they opened the state jails, they had a lot more room. And so people who caught cases between like 94 up to 2000, maybe even 98, they did almost all their sentence, because the jails had been cleaned out by sending people to state jail. So they created those state jails. I forget which year it was. It was either 92, 93, 94. But whenever they created them, that took half the prison population out and put them in these nonviolent facilities. So now people get out early based on the space availability. So now you got a lot of space. So if you got these aggravated crimes, then you had time to do all this time.
Well, I looked it up and read it, and the law stated at that particular time that you had to do 5 years on that particular case before you were eligible for parole.
Even though you got 5 years?
Even though I only had 5 years. you had to do 5 years on
School zone.
that school zone.
Okay.
And
I don't remember that, but if you say so.
yes, ma'am. We
You know, but the other thing that could have been, and I would have to have researched that, but the crime you had might have been more of it might have been enhanced to where it was. Are you sure it wasn't enhanced to like 15 to life, and they reduced it and gave you 5, and that's why you had to do the 5?
Given 5-year sentence.
So, but it was on a first degree.
I was initially given probation, and so I was given I was given 7 years probation, and so I didn't complete my probation.
So you were on 2 probations?
2 probations at the
Okay, well,
same
you didn't
time,
tell me
Texas
that.
and Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 7 years. Now, because Louisiana, they're different than Texas.
Well, how did you violate your probation if you got the first 7 years probation?
After I got the 7 years probation, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't do the community service. I wasn't reporting on time, and I was about to get off of the probation, and one of the supervisors started auditing the files and seen I hadn't did all this stuff, and they put me on what they called back then a super intense probation,
Right.
SIP, and it was like I had to report every week. I had to do all this different stuff.
That's too much.
Yeah, and I couldn't do it, and I ended up getting violated. I just didn't do what I was supposed to do, and so I failed to complete my probation.
All right, so then you did 5 years. After the 5 years, did you get out and straighten up, or did you need to go back a few more times first?
Once more.
Okay, and then what happened?
I've been clean and on the right path, went back to college.
But let's talk about that one more time. You haven't talked about that. How did you get trapped? So now you've got the Louisiana case, you got the Fort Bend case. So you've done 5 years. You're supposed to know better. But how did you get caught up one more time?
I started back to smoking and hanging with my homeboys. I wasn't my people at that time. I had moved to Sunnyside, Texas, hanging out with people, and cats were doing something. They were going in these buildings, getting these alloys out of these buildings, that metal, not just regular metal, but metal that pay. They getting copper, these other metals that they use, that they pay a lot of money for. So we hitting these licks, $5,000, $10,000, $2,000 licks and things. So, I was doing that, and one night we got caught. Well, I got caught, and another guy. He got caught, but several of them got away. Yeah, we had a crew that we went around all over Houston and things, hitting these different metal and companies and things for their expensive metals. And so I ended up going back.
How much time did you get?
Did a year state jail.
And was that in Harris County?
That was Harris County.
All right, so what's made you stop?
What made me stop was my family. They got tired of my BS.
Now, is this your aunt and uncle, or these are girlfriends, wives? Who got tired?
My aunt, uncles, brothers, sisters, my family, and things. My girl at that time was from New Orleans. She had went back to New Orleans, and so I was living in one of my dad's rent houses and things like that. They said, "Nah, that ain't happening no more." They said, "Nah, you too old now. You keep doing the same thing over and over and things." And so we getting old. My cousins, I call them my brothers and sisters. They getting old. You're not gonna keep doing this to them and things. So I had to make some decisions, and so I ended up going to Salvation Army, and I ended up singing in the Harbor Light Choir. I only intentionally planned on staying there for a year, but I ended up singing in the Salvation Harbor Light Choir, and I got sober. I stayed there almost 4 years and worked on myself. I did some 12-step programs and just got sober. And then I left there. I moved into some apartments, and I went back to school, college. I met Miss Koretta. We were in a class together, and we had formed a friendship, and after we left the class, we had talked about if she ever wanted to go into politics, who would help her, and she called after she had got involved in some political stuff, and I answered the call, and we've been together. I went back, got my degree. She's one.
What's your degree in?
It's in chemical dependency. I will say LCDC. I got a degree to be a licensed chemical dependency counselor.
Do you do that now?
No, because I've been working as an advocate with Ms. Koretta, working on the political side. You talked earlier about the kids and the people calling you after they get in trouble, or during the course of all those times going to jail and things like that. It's always seemed like a young kid would, be sitting there scared and come up to me and things, sit down, start talking to me, and they'd be shot a cop, kill somebody. They be facing death penalty stuff, capital murder cases, and they asking me, school, what can I do? Because they were looking at me as an older person, right. Some supervision, I don't know, sound advice, and I'm like, I just try to talk to them, but really at that time I'm thinking to myself, man, I can't do nothing really. Ain't nothing you really can do. That's what my thoughts are. You got yourself into something serious. And so. But
it's hard to tell them that, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
How about one of the reasons why I call this show Truth and Justice is because in the street, the guys used to call me the truth because I tell the truth.
Yeah.
But people don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
But but parents really need to know the truth.
Yeah.
It can always turn out good, even in a bad situation. But that's not the way it normally turns out. So you need to be ready for the worst. But people are like, well, you depressing me, you saying something bad, but you don't realize you've taken somebody's life. Somebody's family is completely changed because of that one decision.
And in Harris County, my experience of going in and out of Harris County, if you ain't got no money, you're gonna sit there. And people don't want to just sit there. I saw people sit there who had been there 4 years just sitting in the jail waiting. And like you said, what do you tell this person? He's waiting on the capital murder trial. And
after COVID, when I went back to the DA's office, I think when I left, so I was there 8 years. I left in 16, came back out in 2024. I think 2 of the cases I did are still, from 16, are still pending. Capital murders, they're still pending. I had to give them off to somebody else, but they're still pending. Some others have called me. And I looked them up. COVID really set everything back.
So these people, and these young kids,
what can you tell them?
Yeah, exactly. What can you tell them?
Because an 18-year-old doesn't want to hear. Yeah. Man's desire is to be free. Nobody wants to be locked up like an animal, but they don't realize that the society is scared of you because you will kill anybody. But let me switch over to Koretta. Thank you for making it, Koretta. Do you mind talking to us? I know a lot of times women are bashful about telling their stories. They don't like to. What's your feeling? Are you able to tell your story, sweetheart?
Yeah, I'm not bashful at all.
Cool.
Actually, I enjoy telling my story, and the reason is because I didn't hear stories growing up. Jail, prison, the dope life, even though I grew up in the dead end, I grew up in a family where we were sheltered from all of that. Right, so there are.
I know your mother loved you.
My mother really loved me, and we're gonna get there. But we grew up in the hood, and my parents didn't want us to see some things. Now, I understand now as an adult that have been through it that it's important that your children see some things if you live in that environment, because if you shelter them from some things, you shelter them from the truth, and then they grow up like I grew up, not really being able to differentiate reality from what was fake. What I see in the videos and the songs and in the music at the time growing up, I'm born in the 80s, right? I'm a teenager in 1994, right? So 92, 90, whenever NWA decided they wanted to fight to have gangster rap, right? I'm a little girl listening to that fight, right? Where you had parents who was like, no, we don't want gangster rap, and they fighting against it, and you had advocates. I think Jesse Jackson was one of them that was speaking out against it and really trying to say, no, young people, y'all making a bad decision, right? But in that moment, it passed freedom of speech. Right. You can sing and rap about whatever it is that you want to rap about, even though it was going to be to the detrimental of the community, which is exactly what ended up happening. And so I don't mind telling my story because I want somebody to hear it. And I want somebody to say, you know what? I'm not as gangster as I think I am. I don't want to go live that life. I don't want to make that decision. I'm not as insecure as I think I am. Or, you know what? I'm insecure. I recognize this insecurity and I want to get help because I don't want to live in the shadows of somebody else. I don't want to make wrong decisions because I want to appease my friends or because I want to seem this type of person,
So
right,
what'd
for
you do?
popularity.
So what happened?
So
How
for-
did you get involved in that life?
Yeah, so for me,
And what age were you?
I'm gonna be honest. My crime was the first time I ever did something like that.
Wow.
It was the very first time. Now, I'm not gonna say it was the first time that I had ever did anything.
Right, but
I'm gonna
did
say
that.
it was the very first time that I had ever done that particular, and we were doing carjacking. So that night, I think we did like 4 attempted carjackings. And I'm just being honest with why I did it. Homeboy was cute.
So your
I didn't
boyfriend
even
was
know
cute.
him. He wasn't my boyfriend.
Oh, he wasn't your boyfriend?
That's what yeah.
How did you get with him, though?
So I had a boyfriend who
Okay.
lived on the north side, right? And thank you for this platform because I've been wanting to tell this story for a long time and just really haven't had a platform to tell it. But I had a boyfriend and a guy that I was dating and seeing. We would never really call ourselves boyfriends or whatever. And he lived on the north side, and I went on the north side this one particular night to go see him. Now, I had been going over and over and over, never had been invited to do nothing stupid like this. But this one time, the guy that I ended up catching a case with, he walks up, we all standing there, and he like, hey, look at me, like, do you hustle? I'm like, yeah. Now, my idea of hustle were things that I had been doing, right? Like with my kid's father, right? He would say, hey, go take this dime or rock down to this motel or whatever, right? And I'll go do something like that.
Right.
Or
That's what most women are, kind of mules. You know, just kinda, I'm
Right.
just going to deliver it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna deliver. So it'd be some things like that. Of course, I would have fights, you know, in the neighborhood, at school or whatever. But when he was like, you wanna hustle? I'm thinking something like that. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we get in the car, we drive off and things like that. All of a sudden,
Now, where was your boyfriend?
with somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was living, we was together, don't get me wrong, we had an apartment together, but he was cheating and doing all he wanted to
so
do,
he was
and so,
disappearing.
right, so I'm disappearing too.
I got it.
Right, we both outside. So I shouldn't have been out.
I love the
Anyway,
spirit of young women.
I was saying we were both outside.
You know, my age group, we would have been sitting at home crying. If y'all say tit for tat, what's good for you is good for me. I like it. I like it.
Good
Right,
for the
that's
gander.
yeah, that's how that was my my mindset at the time. And so God asked me, I said, yeah. We get in the car, we drive some ways. He pull out this pump shotgun, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, but I'm so insecure as a human being, right? Because of everything that I've gone through in my life. That and I'm mad at my baby's father, right?
Right.
I'm mad at you, right? So I'm gonna make you, you know, suffer. But at the same time, when he like, we fixing to go jack these cars, and I'm like, all right, cool, right? I knew I could say no. I absolutely knew that I could say no, and I made a choice to say yes, because it was an experience that I wanted to experience, right? I wanted to be like Eve. I wanted to be ride or die, right? I wanted to experience it, and so I did. And it ended up not being a good outcome. Now, while I'm thinking about experiencing it, at the same time, I'm not thinking about the pain that I'm gonna cause somebody. That was not an idea in my head, right? I'm not thinking about the fear that somebody is feeling when they have a 12-gauge pump shotgun in their face. That is not what I'm thinking, right? At the moment, I was not living in a state of reality because I have never been through anything like that myself before, right? And so there's something about never ever experiencing things that can detach you from emotional or being able to be empathetic to somebody else. And that's what I was going through. And I honestly would think that a lot of young ladies like myself that put themselves in situations out of insecurity, out of just being angry, out of retaliation, out of whatever it is that you decide you want to go out and be this bad person for, right? A lot of us just not thinking about the outcomes and how it's gonna impact somebody else. We just don't. And I'm gonna be honest, like, I caught the case, right? I'm in jail.
But you left off at the guy pulled out this pump shotgun. Then what happened?
Yeah, then he was like, all right, so let's go. And I'm like, all right, so let's go.
But did y'all get out of the car? Did y'all jump in somebody else's car? I mean, what
We
happened?
in my car.
Oh, you were driving.
I'm the driver.
So you driving your car,
I'm
and he jumps out of the car and does what?
Yeah, so we did 4. So with every carjacking
Oh, but are y'all
that we
taking the
did-
cars, or y'all taking the property of the people?
So, so the idea was to take the cars.
Right.
Right? That was the idea, was to take the cars, but the cars we was picking wasn't really good cars to be taken. So we only ended up getting property. Like I think one car we tried to get and it had some kind of switch on it that the car just cut off while he was in the middle of driving it, right?
So you would let him out the car and he would go jack and take the
No, I didn't have to let him out the car. He can open the door by himself.
Right. But I'm just saying, but he jumped in somebody, he made somebody get out, jumped in their
Right.
car, and the car just died on him.
And the car just
It
died.
had a kill switch.
It had a kill switch, yeah. So that should have been a wake-up call right there for me to be like, go home. Yeah, and I still didn't. And so
you
then we
picked him
tried to
back
do
up?
another one. I didn't have to pick him back up. He just got in the car.
I see.
Right, I'm following you to make sure that we get this car to wherever it's supposed to go. I have no clue where it's supposed to go because I just met you, right? I don't know you from Adam.
Did you even know his name at that?
I still don't know his name. I'm gonna be honest. He's my co-defendant, and I still to this day.
But
do
you saw
not
it on
know
the
his name.
paperwork.
I saw it on the paperwork. I don't remember.
I see.
I wouldn't even know where that paperwork is right now. Like the physical copy, yes, I know how I can go in and look it up. I've never done it. I've never gone in to look up my case, right? For me, it's behind me. I served the time. I did it.
How'd y'all get caught?
The police, that's a good one. Okay, so I'm gonna say about a year before that, I had let a homegirl of mine, good girlfriend at the time, spend a night at my house, at my apartment, and drive my car, because I went to New York chasing who at the time was my high school sweetheart. And so we graduated together and we were living together. He got mad, he left and went to New York, and I was like, I'm finna go bring you back home, right? So I let her use the car and keep my apartment, and she got a ticket in the car. And so she never paid the ticket, and I didn't notice. So the way we got caught is because we're driving down one of those streets on the north side at about 12 o'clock midnight, and the laws get behind us and run the plates.
It's a outstanding warrant on that.
Outstanding warrant, probable cause to pull us over.
Right.
Pull us over, and guy had the pump shotgun sitting in his lap. So one officer come on the driver's side, one officer come on the passenger side, flash the lights in there, the first thing they see is the gun. So then automatically they drawing out now. So I had 2 options. Yes, I could drive off, but was I really about that life? No. Like I just said, I didn't even
wouldn't
know
have turned out
him, and I
good.
had never done nothing like that before. So my survival skills told me to just sit here and let's just, whatever happens is gonna happen. Again, I'm not thinking about the seriousness of the crime that I just committed. I'm not thinking that this is prison time. Prison never even came to my mind. I'm not even thinking about probation. To be honest with you, I didn't even know, like I knew what
How old were
probation
you?
was. 18,
Yeah,
I had just turned 18.
Yeah, I'm trying not to act like I know.
But you know. And so it was like, my family and I, we had never experienced that. So we get out the car, right? They handcuffs us. We end up going to getting booked in or whatever, right? And I call my god sister and I say, hey, I need you to come get me because I'm in jail, and they say that it's aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon. Now, tell you how I did not understand how serious that crime was. I called my god sister, who was only 1 year older than me, to come and get me. Now, she happened to be dating a guy who really was about that life, right? So he knew, and he told her, I'll never forget the conversation, right? He said, you better tell her that she better say that they made her do it because she's looking at 99 to life, right? So when she told me that, I think that's when it clicked in my head was like, dang, you messed up, and you messed up bad, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm a fresh 18-year-old, my birthday is June 30th. I think I caught my case like December 15th, right? So I'm a fresh 18-year-old, and I'm sitting here and I'm scared. Like when I say I'm scared, right? At first, I was bad. Cause I didn't know nothing about prison time.
Oh, yeah, you was badass, yeah.
I was bad.
Yeah, you was
I'm
bad.
like, we ain't saying nothing, we ain't talking, mouth closed, bam, 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 right? Yeah, by the time those laws came and got me,
You was telling everything.
I lied.
Oh, you lied.
Yeah, I didn't even tell the truth about what happened.
Okay.
Like, I lied to try to make it easier on myself. And that's what most people do when they not about their life,
Right.
and they get caught up.
Right, and the police know that.
They gonna lie, right? And so, of course, they knew that I was lying. About 2 weeks later, my parents they get the money together, they bum me out. My mom was in these, she's always been an entrepreneur, so she was in the 610 West building, and she came up to me and she said, we fixing to go see this attorney named Vivian King.
Bam.
Yeah, she said, we're finna go see Vivian King. Y'all was in the same building.
Oh, wow.
And so we came to your office, I'll never forget. After you, we went to Ed Van Buren. So we came to your office, and this goes back to what you were saying in the beginning of the show when you said, I tell the truth, and some parents don't want to hear the truth, right? And so after we walked out, my mom pulled me to the side, and she said, that lady said you did it. And I was like, huh? I'm looking like, I'm busted, right? Because I told my mom the same lie that I told the police.
Which
right?
was what?
Which was he made me do it.
Oh, okay, which they told you to do.
Right. They were like, you better say he made you do it. So like, he made me do it, right? And so when she said it, she was like, that lady said you lying. And that
So you
she
weren't
don't
there? I don't
believe
remember
that you.
being there. Were you there?
I was there.
Okay,
I talked to you first.
Okay, you
I
were so young. That was so long ago.
It was so long ago.
I mean, this might have been like
1998.
1998.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. But no, I was there, and you asked me what happened. I told you the same lie that I had told everybody else.
But I could see.
And you said, yeah, and you were like, okay, well, go sit in there now. I'm gonna talk to your mom now. So I go to sit with her. Anyway, what it came out of was that you had said you could give me 4 years in prison. And we didn't want to do any prison time.
Right.
And it's going back to attorneys being honest with their clients versus attorneys just telling you whatever they want to tell you to get that bread. So we decided we were going to keep looking. And we ended up getting from my children's father, he ended up telling us that we should go with Ed Van Buren. Now, we didn't know anything about Ed Van Buren, just like we didn't know nothing about Vivian King.
Right.
But Ed Van Buren said, I can get a probation.
Okay.
It's her first time. She's really young. Look at her. I think the judge is going to have mercy on her, right?
I can't remember. Who was your judge back then?
Michael T. McSpadden. Yeah.
Like she said, I told the truth.
Yeah. So, you know, he was like, we're going to do a pre-trial investigation?
Pre-sentence investigation.
Pre-sentence investigation.
That's what all the parents call me about, because you plead guilty to, and you fall on the mercy of the court, basically.
Basically.
And the probation department does this social study on you and gives all this information to them, and then your lawyer is supposed to do a social study and say all the good things about you, and the judge is supposed to read both of them and make a decision.
Right, and so unfortunately, I didn't give the attorney much good to work with because
Yeah, but he's supposed to.
I even got
your high
wilder.
school, you know, your high school diploma. You know, anything you did at church. You know, like any good things that you.
Yeah, no, he tried.
Okay, he tried.
I'm gonna give
Okay.
I'm gonna give Ed Van Buren that and say that he tried.
Okay.
I stopped going to church.
Okay.
Okay, and then I had a pastor, I had a preacher at Belford Church of Christ where, you know what, he just came out and said, my mom told me, he just came out and told her on the day that they were supposed to show up to testify on my behalf, he was like, Ms. Brown, I can't go. I can't go in front of the court and lie to the people. See, I had wholesome people in my life that they were gonna let me be held accountable for what I did if I didn't wanna get myself together. Right. I didn't get an opportunity like some people to be able to be in trouble 3-4 times, right? Because my first time was like, you did it. You fixing to eat this karma, right? And karma is what I ate, right? Because I didn't do nothing that they told me to do.
That's why I don't, when you deal with young people, I don't ever want to fall on the mercy of the court because young people ain't ready yet. You know what I'm saying? And so they're not ready. I don't know what else to say, but once that judge gives you a bunch of time, because the judge could give you probation, but that just wasn't my experience down there. And once that happens, then the parents are gonna be mad at you. So I'd rather just try to plea bargain it or go to trial or do something else because and us lawyers know the judges, when you do PSI, are gonna give you a bunch of time. We know that. So when you say, but it is truthful, you could get probation, but they know McSpadden ain't giving nobody probation. For your first offense.
And he wasn't as hard on me as he was on most people.
No, because you're a girl. And there wasn't a lot of women with aggravated robberies back in 1998.
Right. But he also wasn't as hard on my co-defendant as he could have been.
Right.
And he told me that.
What'd y'all get, like 9 years?
I got 8 years.
8 years, okay.
I got 8 years. And
I had an ag robber that I've had talked on here yet. He got 9 in McSpadden.
I got 8, and my co-defendant got 12.
But we worked that out. I mean, I didn't know PSI. We worked it out.
Right.
They had done a series too. But yeah.
But it was. I'm gonna still say that it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it was still an over sentence when you consider what other. We look at the Kingwood girls, right? Because this happened around about around the same, like some years, right? Just a few years apart. I remember being in jail watching them. The driver of the Kingwood girls got probation. Now they robbed stores.
And they organized it together. And you had just met that guy.
Right, and they organized multiple times. And then they placed the blame on, I think I want to say 4 or 5 guys that had did it.
Black guys.
They were black guys that had did it on another different side of the town.
Right. They said black people did it because they know that they can get away with that.
Right. It was a highly polarized,
and
publicized case, right? But they gave her probation, but I got 8 years sentence, and I was a driver.
So once you did the 8 years, you got 8 years, and what'd your co-defendant get?
12.
You got 12. Had he been in trouble before?
I wouldn't know.
But he was the one with the pump gun, so.
Right.
And how did you feel about the 8 years? I know you were devastated about that.
Oh my God, I passed. No, I didn't pass.
But you almost did.
But I cried. I did. People talk about Puff Daddy getting on his knees, and yeah, I get it. Puff Daddy, I get it, right? Because when that judge said...
He hadn't been sentenced yet.
Right. When that judge said 8 years TDC, I was like, wait, what? And then I asked him, I was like, can you give me mercy? And he was like, I could have given you 25.
And
this is mercy.
A lot of times they would give like 18, 15, 18. McSpadden was one of the ones that would do single digits, though. Very few of them those female Republican judges, they were not giving single digits.
At all.
You met women down there that would, or people in jail that had double digits on their first offense.
Yes, I did. I met a lot of them. But I did 6 years on that 8. And hearing you talk earlier, I kind of understand now when you say that there was space.
There was space then.
Because
most women used to, in the women's prisons, they did more non-aggravated crimes, like crack cocaine, multiple prostitutions gets up to a felony, stealing. Very few women back then were getting a lot of aggravated cases. They did, but it wasn't as common as the men, you know that.
Right.
And so so most women, they got to go to the state jail, so they had a lot of space.
Right, and so it's like...
How many times did you have to get parole? Because you got the parole first time at 4 years.
Twice, I saw parole twice. Okay. So the first time I saw parole, with aggravated, you got to serve 50% calendars. So got to my 4th year, had graduated from college.
Great.
Had gotten certifications, OJTs, was what they would consider to be a model, a model inmate. Even got my trustee band when they said that they wasn't giving aggravated cases trustee band.
Wow.
So it just goes to show that I was doing everything the right way. I wasn't perfect. I ain't gonna front. I was not a perfect inmate or convict. But I didn't never do anything that was so bad that would cause me to get a major case, right? Because I always wanted to make parole. And so I say this because there wasn't a reason for me to be denied parole my first time.
And so you were set off 2 years?
I was set off for 2 years, right? And
That's a long
then
set off.
I came back up. It was really long. And this is how I know that they just wanted to have me in the bed, right? I was a paycheck, I was the paycheck for them. So I ended up serving 6 on that 8. When I came up for parole the second time, they gave me a FI, I want to say it was a FI 9, where I had to do 9 months, and then I had to do a program. They had gotten rid of, the one program that I was supposed to do, they got rid of. And so I ended up having to do a program called Changes. And that was a 90-day program. So I did the program, got moved to Dickinson, to the trustee camp, became a worker there, and that's why I paroled out of. When I came home, I didn't have but 2 years of parole to do. Right?
That was good.
And I was fortunate because I'm just gonna always say that I feel like I just had blessings on my life. I just feel like spirits is just being on my life helping me, because some people that I know, they've had the worst parole officers. Like, they've had parole officers that just want to see them back in prison. Right? They're so hard on them that they make it virtually impossible for them to even get off of parole. And
But we got 5 minutes, so try to wrap up your story and talk about what you're doing good now.
okay, and so I ended up just having good parole attorneys. I mean, not parole attorneys, good parole officers that supported me.
How did you make the leap to get on your feet? Because I know you're doing a lot of great community work now. And so I understand what inspired you to do it, but how did you pick yourself up and figure out how to earn a living?
So
I know you're smart. You have a college degree. You were smart before you went.
Went back to TSU. Didn't even know I was organizing at TSU, those 19 black women that ran for office. I didn't know what I was doing. Ran for judge, I didn't know what I was doing, but somebody said, hey, come here, look at this. I looked, I saw it, I say, we need them judges. And I just started volunteering for them. Deidre Davis really when I say she brought me in with like, hey, no, if don't nobody want to work with you, I do. Come on, put this right here.
And she's a hard worker.
She's a very hard worker. But to get started, after all of that, I ended up meeting Chris Hollins, right? Chris believed in the vision that I had for Bridges to Empowerment.
So do you have a nonprofit now? Mm-hmm. And what's the name of it?
It's called Bridges to Empowerment.
We have 2, Bridges to Empowerment.
And then we have the Young into Politics.
Bridges to Empowerment.
And the Young into Politics.
And how do you get your funding?
So we are grant-funded. We're a grant-funded organization with Bridges to Empowerment. But other than that, before that, with the Young into Politics, we used to help get people elected into office, and they would pay us to do it.
Gotcha. And you're still doing that?
Well, we moved away from partisan politics now. So we just really focus right now on issue-based.
Okay, so the Bridges to Empowerment is issue-based?
Both of them are issue-based now.
Okay, so are both of them nonprofits, or one is more of just an organization underneath?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Young into Politics is a LLC that is fiscally sponsored by Bridges to Empowerment.
Okay.
And we are working on it becoming a 501c3 so that we can be able to do the great work that we know we can get done.
But it sounds like you're doing it under Bridges to Empowerment.
I was going to say, tell about Bridges to Empowerment, about we want to be formerly incarcerated to things. Tell me what Bridges to Empowerment is for, to help former people like ourselves.
So Bridges to Empowerment have four parts to it. We have the Build a Bridge program. The Build a Bridge is what Michael is talking about. That's where we take formerly incarcerated people that want to become organizations, and we help them become organizations. Okay. So we will fiscally sponsor you. We'll help you get your 501. We'll help you get all of your paperwork processed and everything. Then we'll give you a platform, and then we let you ride with us, and you can get the training that you need to become a fully functioning organization. And then we have the youth cohort. The youth cohort, we take young kids, we educate them and teach them how to be youth advocates at their school and in their everyday life. We have a Seasoned Saints program where we partner with churches with their senior ministries. Right now at Missouri City Church of Christ, we help their Seasoned Saint ministry to start a garden there. We have our youth go out there every Tuesday to work the garden with the person who started the garden. The food is shared with the church members, right? The students get to take some of the food home with them to share with their families. And then we work with the Lioness, right? So the Lioness is a statewide program of formerly incarcerated women that when you come home, you have somewhere to support, you have a support system, you have a network. And like I said, I'm just always, with Bridges to Empowerment, we're just always working to elevate system-impacted people. That's our goal. The only
Now, let me
goal.
ask you this. Have you been affected by, I know Trump stopped a lot of the funding to 501(c)(3)s. Did that affect yours, or is yours more state funded, not federal?
So ours is more private funded.
Okay, private.
So I've never gotten a federal grant and I've never gotten a state grant
Gotcha.
before. So we haven't been impacted by that because that's not where our funding comes from.
It's private, okay. Oh, that's good. And how long have you run this organization?
So I started the Bridges to Empowerment in 2019. Same time we started the Young in the Politics in 2019.
Is this your full-time job, or is this a part-time job?
This is all I do.
And this is your full-time job too? Okay.
Yeah, this
All
is
right. I didn't know if y'all worked with the violence interrupters or anything with the county.
Haven't, the only thing that we were fortunate enough to do with the county was during COVID-19, we were able to set up vaccination vaccination sites at different churches because of the work that we do with the churches.
Well, that's good. Well, we have 1 minute, so y'all have been wonderful guests, but I want you both, you'll go last, you'll go first, to just say a parting word, whatever you want to say.
Well, I thank you for this platform and opportunity to tell my story, because as I said about the young men who would come to me and seeking advice, now I have an opportunity to work with young people in the community and try to guide them down the right path. And that's an important thing and opportunity to be able to do. You know, I get to work with other people besides Koretta, like my friend Danny.
Yeah, well, let's put a plug in. So
Yeah.
Michael Spates goes to my church,
St. John's.
St. John's United Methodist Church downtown, 2019 Crawford, and works with the Path to Freedom, and so do I.
Yeah.
And so thank you for your hard work. I saw him at church and asked him to come tell his story while at church, and Danny said he'd been trying to get you for a long time, but when I asked, he said yes. And Koretta, tell me what you got 60 seconds to say whatever you want to say.
I'm gonna say thank you for this platform and having us on here. But I know this is a very powerful platform, and so I just want to say social justice reform, criminal justice reform, and judicial reform is extremely important. There's a lot of lives out there that we make dumb decisions, but we shouldn't spend the rest of our life paying for the dumb decisions that we make, especially when we've turned around and changed our lives. We need to reform housing so that people that have backgrounds can get housing. It doesn't make sense that I was just recently denied an apartment, like an apartment in a very poor place, right?
Wow. I thought they
denied.
stopped doing that.
No.
I thought they were doing better with that.
I just got my denial about 3 weeks ago, and this was 1998.
Yeah.
So I really do call upon our elected officials in the powerful places to do something, right? Like do something because we need the help. And there's so many of us that want to do right. We want to do right. We are the majority that come home and do the right thing, but we get punished for the minority that come home and do the wrong thing.
Amen. And I'm being told to wrap it up. So,
Okay.
All right. Thank you both, and I'll try to help you work on that. Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. You can also see this on YouTube. Thank you. Good night.